Do you hear typing?
Jan's asking when we can hear typing. No typing now.
Yep.
Yes, typing now. So not me. Okay, neither of us are typing. Okay, there's a ghost. Oh, I'm really confused. Yeah, I'm not typing anything right now.
It's the cable company.
And just confirming that...
I'm looking behind me. Nope, no one in here with me.
Confirming that all of our intercoms in the control van are set to microphone and not speaker and microphone. Or sorry, headset and... Just headset and not headset and speaker, because that has been a issue. I think we're good.
Know those were options.
Yeah, when you unplug, it defaults to a speaker. So as long as you just have one little headset icon in the top left of the right panel, you're good.
Well, I'm not banging on a keyboard, so it ain't me.
Well, I know it's not you. I don't think it's Steve. Nope, Steve's good. Okay. Really not all the options.
I'm not hearing the echo anymore.
Yep, the ghost is gone.
Someone just
whoever the
fixed it.
keyboard person was figured it out and got off.
All right. Yay. Fabulous.
How about now? Do you hear the echo now?
It just came back.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my microphone. I don't know what's going on, so I'll just mute on SBL. That's coming from me. I don't know why.
No problem.
Thanks, Jan. Well, just come off when you want to talk and mute when you don't, and it'll be great. Okay, so it looks like it's starting to go downhill, right?
Yeah.
But we're still able to see some of what's going on here. I haven't had a chance to kind of give a little more of our goals for this dive, but this is an area kind of in the foothills of Davidson Seamount on the southeastern side, and there are a series of these kind of either ridge or cone-like bumps on the seafloor that we want to take a look at. So we just reached the top of the first one, and now we're going to start heading down, and we're keeping our eyes out for corals, sponges, but also other interesting areas and communities that might remind us of some of the venting that we saw over on the southwestern side of Davidson Seamount, where we found the venting water and some of the associated brooding octopus. So we're keeping our eyes out for that. And I know that you all are familiar with it. Things we might see would be areas where the rock has a more darkish color, higher concentrations of anemones or sometimes sea stars, tube worms, whelks. So just if, we're keeping our eyes out for things that are drawing our attention, and then we can try to take a closer look in those areas. But in general, we're not stopping to just ooh and ah over all the cool stuff that lives here. We're moving along so that we keep on schedule to get to see a chance to see everything that we've planned for this dive. We did, as you know, just take a sample of a sponge a bit opportunistically during the watch change. And there is one request in to take a Niskin if we hit an area with kind of a higher density of corals and sponges. So, Jan, if you can keep that in the back of your...
Jennifer, we stopped hearing you.
Oh, no. Hello, Van?
Yeah, now you're back. I heard that sigh. I feel your pain.
Okay, I can't hear the van, but based on the science chat, it seems like people could hear me. I'm going to log out and come back.
Oh, boy. Thank goodness for the science chat.
Okay, well, Jen's going out and coming back.
Jen. Let's see.
Jennifer.
Are you?
Jennifer.
Hello, Jennifer.
There you are.
Can you hear me
Good.
now?
I can hear you.
When did I cut out? Did I cut out? I
Yeah, you
just
did.
stopped being able to hear you.
Yeah, well,
What was the last thing I said?
that the science chat told you that people could hear you, but you couldn't hear the van.
Well, I know that at least Meredith heard me mention the Niskin, but then she said you don't have to stop to take it, and I did say that out loud, that we could take it on the fly, so I'm thinking I might have cut out around that time.
You got that, Bob, right? You can take a Niskin on the fly?
Yeah. Well, we're not doing it now. It's
If we
we're in
find,
the high
no,
density communities. Yeah.
yeah, high coral sponge, that's right.
Yeah.
Awesome, thanks. So I somehow stopped being able to hear the van, but it's not like a typical where the V-Link turns off. While we're heading down,
Ooh, move the mic away, a little farther away. Somehow you got a lot louder.
I did.
Yeah,
Okay.
your proximity
That
to your
better?
microphone makes a huge difference.
Right, but I didn't move it. So.
Oh, no,
I don't
it's
know.
not. It's too soft.
It's the ghost.
Oh, no.
The typing ghost also moves microphones.
Yeah.
Here. Okay, so we're in a little gully here that's full of sediment. That's interesting. So Jan's asking about our altitude and wondering if we maybe can go any lower, but I realize going downhill.
Yeah.
We don't
So
want to get too close.
if you were to look at the camera out the back of Hercules, we're basically dragging along the bottom. So,
Okay, I see. Yep, I see what you mean.
so I
Thank
cannot
you
come
for
down
pointing that
anymore. I'm bouncing off the bottom as is.
Got it. I hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, no worries. We're learning what is. I haven't done that much going downhill with you guys.
I don't like going downhill.
Looks like we're about to go back uphill, though.
Yeah. Does this jibe with your map?
Interesting.
This does not jive
And
with
we're
the map.
going-
So as Ben mentioned, he thinks that the contours are perhaps incorrect on this map. It could be USBL related, but it could also just be the way that this map was created originally. So hence, on the last watch, I guess they were doing a lot of kind of popping up with Herc to be able to see around and then deciding where to go based on just visual.
Yeah, but that's open to interpretation, right?
Sure is.
Yeah. I would tend to believe that it's off the rear of the ship and that the ship is accurate. And the map was probably accurate because it was made using, GPS. So,
well,
I don't know.
I'm relaying what the last watch found helpful, so we can. I'm open to suggestions on how you want to keep moving.
Yes, I would just keep reiterating that Argus is hanging off the stern of the ship. It's very heavy and it wants to hang there.
Sure. I'm just trying. So, I mean, if the map's not right, then we're just kind of having to guess. But let's just. So the heading is north. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So let's just, if we can, go up this and see what's next.
Okay. I think if Nicole's around, she could weigh in
Jen,
on that.
are we headed towards A4 or A5?
A4 is
For right now.
to our west of the ship right now, or
Yeah.
right? A4 is to the west of Nautilus on the HIPAC map. Is that right, Sam?
A4 is to the west. That's correct. So
Yeah, and then A5 is to the north.
To the north.
Slightly.
and that's what we're headed towards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
A4.
Does that make sense?
And that's
Sam?
uphill. Yeah, it does make
Well,
sense.
it appears so. Well, it's
yeah.
according to this map, it's not uphill, but according to the seafloor, it is uphill. Because the orange behind us was higher, according to the map, and the green ahead of us, greenish ahead of us is supposed to be downslope.
Oh, I have that reversed. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So
So
A5
when we
is
came-
even shallower or deeper.
Yes.
I'm sorry. A5 is
Supposedly,
even deeper
A5
than
is deeper.
A4.
Supposedly.
That's correct.
That's
Okay.
correct. This is pretty steep right here. I don't know what
Yeah.
you have around there that's... You're looking over the top.
We're
on
looking at the
sonar.
backscatter.
Yeah.
No
And
part
Sam,
of this map shows a steep uphill, right?
Correct.
no, like, because we have two other maps now in the dive plan. Figure 2 shows slope, and it's not showing any steep uphill through this part.
So this is uphill to the east.
To the east, right?
Yeah. So
And
are we going?
we're going
up?
north.
So we're not going up the hill. I thought we were going for the peaks of everything.
So science, would you like to head east where we're seeing a slope or continue north towards waypoint A5?
Okay. I'm trying to.
So
I'm
yeah,
trying to
north is
imagine.
along the slope. So
It's
the slope
along
is
the
very
slope.
definitely to the east. So I'm coming around here. This is 045. So this
Can
is
we
going to be
split the
along the
difference?
side of the slope.
Can we split the difference and not go straight uphill, but go?
I can go straight ahead, which is sort of like, well, it's 045.
I just don't want to get too far
We're
to the
definitely
east.
at tether limits here, Bob.
Yeah.
Science, do
So I have to come off of the wall here if I'm gonna get
So,
back under
Sam, I'm
Argus.
looking at the map.
So we're not getting to the top of the hill the way we're going.
The
I'm
heading
gonna have to fall off of the hill right now. So
let's
there you
just keep headed
falling off
to the
off
north
the
then.
hill. I gotta get back under.
Okay, so keep heading north, science?
Yeah,
Roger.
I don't want to head too far east.
Okay.
So just to let everybody know that most of the scientists that are working with the scientists on the Nautilus are working from our living rooms. So we have cats, we have dogs, we have kids, husbands, dishwashing going on right now in my house at this time of night. So if you hear something in the background, it's because through the wonders of telepresence, we're all operating this cruise from our living rooms, at least half of us from our living rooms and half of us on the ship.
I was gonna say definitely not all of us from our living rooms.
No.
Okay.
And there's actually plenty of time that I wish I really was on the ship.
Yeah.
Just makes it easier to focus.
Yeah. So are we looking north right now?
Yep, we're north.
Okay.
Pointed north.
Okay, thanks.
And it's downslope.
Okay.
And it was fairly steep upslope to the east.
Huh. That was unexpected based on our map, that it would be steeply upslope to the east. Huh. Yeah, so as Gian said, I'm Jennifer Brown, and I'm also working from my home office in the eastern part of the San Francisco Bay Area. Wishing I was aboard Nautilus, but glad to be participating in whatever way we can make happen. And I work with Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary. And we are back here at Davidson Seamount, even though The original schedule said we'd be onto a different cruise. We're making up a dive that was lost due to weather during the Central California cruise. And we are in a
We're getting a lot
part
of keyboard claxing again.
It helps
we
if
are
we know
Yeah, who's clacking?
to the
who was actually,
Who's
using
the
the
clacker?
keyboard. That way we can identify the
I wasn't this is Jennifer. I was not clacking.
So I was just asking Steve, what are those stock yellow inverts? And he was saying that they're crinoids.
Octopus in the rear cam?
So Steve, do you know anything more about those crinoids? That
Doesn't look like
do they
they're
get up and
guarded, no.
float and swim around like the other crinoids, or are they pretty much once they become secure to the rocks, are they pretty much stationary?
Yeah, these are definitely the ones that are sessile. They're not going to be moving anytime. They don't detach for the most part. These yellow ones here, we've seen at least, let's say 2 or 3 different species so far on the dive tonight. They're stuck for life. They're not moving anywhere. They're just passively feeding in the flow.
And there we have a coral. Jan, are you familiar with this coral? Or Steve, I should say. This tall stalk
He's
on the
just
rock.
Snap zoom on that.
Yep, zoom in now.
There we go. So this is an octocoral. It's a bamboo coral.
Get more zoom.
And these unbranched morphologies, typically we would call them lepidisis, but in reality there's a couple of different genera that actually are unbranched bamboo corals we might find at this depth. Super fleshy. So you can see the axis, calcitic axis, and these bands. Can kind of see one right now.
You want to get closer?
Well, if you have time, I mean, there's nothing else to look at right here.
Zoom out.
These bands of gorgonin that form the nodes between the calcitic skeleton internodes. And when you look at one of these skeletons without tissue, it kind of looks like bamboo. So that's why they're called bamboo corals. But yeah, there's a couple of different types that look very similar to this. So lepidisis is probably the most common, but it's kind of a bit of an ambiguous group. There's some discussion about.
Can't get
there we
down
go.
too much because we're on the slope. So.
That's great. I think that's good.
Yeah, there
you can see how
it
fine the axis is right here, and how much tissue, how much flesh there is. In this colony, all of the polyps are on one side, which could be indicative, definitely of the current, but sometimes of which species it may be, or which genus it might be.
critical focus. Sorry.
Also, can we go up to the top, kind of pan up? Yeah, there we go. So the presence of an apical polyp on the very top there can sometimes be indicative of its species as well. So sometimes we might want to get imagery on that. Which is perfect. We got that.
Yeah, I gotta get going.
All right.
Great, thanks.
Ship move is underway.
Okay, so Sam.
Go ahead.
Nicole added some information about the map into the chat, and I'm assuming you can't see that. Is that right?
That's correct.
So I wanted to let you know what she said, and then maybe we could discuss it. You could help me to digest it and figure out how to adjust. So she said, confirming that the map's correctly projected and everything. We think it's just a map resolution issue. This is a 40-meter grid, and the 10-meter contours are a bit misleading, particularly in this terrain. So does that mean that when I see the faint grids on here, from grid to grid, it's basically like if we continue north, we're definitely going to go down slope, but the speed at which we're going to do that and what terrain we'll find along the way, the isobaths just aren't going to give us much information about that?
I think that's kind of where we're headed with that. And hopefully Nicole can jump in with more information if that's not the takeaway that we should be getting from that.
Okay.
Give us a jump zoom out.
Can you repeat what you said? So it was a 40-meter grid, but
She said, okay, so it's a 40-meter grid, and these are 10-meter contours, so they just think it's a resolution issue. The contours are a bit misleading, particularly in this kind of terrain. So I'm looking at the yellow path on the map. That's Hercules path, correct?
That's correct. So yellow is Hercules,
Okay.
blue is the ship.
Okay, so when we jogged a bit to the east, that was where we were encountering the steep wall.
That's correct.
And the wall was steepest to the east or to the west?
To the east.
To the east.
And
Okay.
it looked like the slope actually ran along the east, along that contour where we jogged over.
well, I
Okay.
think so. Another way to interpret that, right, is we saw a big upslope that wasn't on the map. And if our resolution is too coarse, we might not catch small ups and downs inside one of those grid spaces. I'm not, but
Okay.
I think that's how I
I'm just trying
interpret that.
to.
So it might be that the map overall is still correct, but it's more like an averaged surface and it's missing a lot of those fine details of like a wall here, a quick descent there.
Okay. And Nicole said that I think that my description was okay, and that hopefully the contours are still a useful guide, but there may be local irregularities, which is what you were just saying.
Cool.
So I was just trying to determine if I was trying to decide whether or not continuing to the east there was something that we should have done versus continuing north, but hopefully that was just like you said, a local irregularity, and it wasn't a larger feature that we're missing. Hard to say.
Yeah, I mean, we've still descended about 50 meters since that peak, maybe a little bit,
Okay.
maybe more like 60, 70. So it's generally still the right
Downhill.
big picture.
Okay.
And science, we're just continuing to make steps towards waypoint A5 headed due north.
Yeah.
So let us know if you want to change direction at any point.
So looking steeper again ahead here. An interesting white sponge, just maybe two different kinds of sponge there as we're passing over here. We see more of those stalk crinoids that Jan was describing earlier,
So
or
I'm going to have to
discussing
look
earlier.
more down into the basket.
Mm-hmm.
I can't, definitely going down this slope ahead, we're not going to be able to see the bottom.
Okay.
We're dragging along the bottom right here, so I can't
Yeah.
go any
So,
lower.
but we can see a little bit of the terrain in the Argus cam, which is channel 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, between that and the rear cam, you know.
There's a rear cam.
Yeah.
We have one. I'm not sure if
Al could put it up on the, it's not, it's more for pilot navigation, scientific
Okay,
value,
got it.
but you can see what's going on back there.
What am I putting on channel 3?
Butt cam.
Butt cam on 3.
Just momentarily, I was curious to see it.
Sure.
Yeah.
so. We're at tether limits, and
Yeah,
I haven't come over enough to start going down this slope. So
Yeah. That's the other problem is that, as we're going down the slope and I'm out in front, then Argus is gonna basically land on top of the slope. Keep going like that.
So you want to catch up then for the next move?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll have to, if we're gonna keep going down the slope, then I think we need Argus more on top or out in front even.
You want me to hold the ship and let you guys catch up, or?
I'm out
Keep
in
going.
front.
No,
You
so-
gotta, you gotta catch up.
I have to catch up. Okay.
Yeah. I'm chomping at the bit to go.
Certainly know that.
All right. Thanks, Al, for that interesting view, but I do need to see the map now again in HIPAC and 3. Thanks.
Yeah, the quicker we get back to an upslope, the happier I'll be.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, one way to, to do that with using the map as a general suggestion would be to go a little more northeast than due north
Sure can.
to get to the lower isobaths a little quicker. It'll also cut off a little of our transit time to A6. How does that sound, Sam?
That sounds great.
Okay. Okay, so we're just getting situated here. We are exploring some different features on the seafloor to the southeast of a large seamount called the Davidson Seamount in Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary. So you consider these kind of the low foothills of the mountain that we're looking at, and we've never looked at these features before. We have some maps, but not high resolution maps of the area. So we're have some ideas based on the maps on the directions that we want to go for exploration, but we're also having to ground truth them as we go and make some decisions related to what we see as far as the biology, the terrain, and just what makes sense for operations. We're trying to maintain as much visual of the seafloor as we go downhill, but that's really challenging to do. So that's what we're in the process of doing right now.
So did you get the view from the rear there? Did that go up?
I did
Yeah,
see
they
that.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that was interesting.
That's our problem.
Yeah, it was very helpful to see that. I understand the problem, but we're still able to see in both Hercules and Argus Cam what's going on around us. And so thank you for, I know this is not your favorite thing to do, but you're doing a great job letting us continue to see the seafloor on our way down, and I very much appreciate it. There's something really interesting to the right. It's more and more of those kind of trumpet-shaped sponges. These white kind of trumpet-shaped sponges we've been seeing quite a bit lately. And we did manage to take a sample off of one of them during the watch change because we're not sure what species it is. So that sample will be used to help us figure that out. It's going to one of our scientists ashore and experts, Amanda Kahn at Lost Landing Marine Labs. We also can see in the upper left of this zoomed in view a black coral, right, Steve? Did I get that right?
Yep. Yeah, you've got
All right.
two black corals in view right now.
Okay.
One looks like Bathypathes, which I think was the one you're referring to.
The
and
pink
there was
one, yep.
an Alternatipathes on the right-hand side. So there's
okay.
at least 3 different black corals I've seen so far. That you have this one actually might be. This one might be Alternatipathes also.
Oh, that looks have we collected that species? I don't recall that species.
It's
Black
known.
coral.
It's known, and we saw it on our previous dive at Davidson also. I don't know if Alternatipathes alternata was collected.
And if you're wondering what the dark kind of convoluted or kind of fluted thing is, that's a xenophyophore, a type of foram that we see fairly regularly here at these depths at Davidson Seamount. Okay, and just for my understanding, the ship's still moving. We're just kind of waiting for it to catch up with us. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So we're trying to keep ourselves moving, but at the same time, we have to coordinate a ship moving. We're at over 3,000 meters depth, and so it takes a little while for the ships and the ROVs to sometimes get aligned. So we had a little time here to look around. And one of the other things we saw in that zoom, you can also see directly in front of us on these rocks, are crinoids or feather stars. And the purple and pinkish cucumber-shaped objects on the floor are sea cucumbers. Those are all members of the group called echinoderms, the stars, the cucumbers, that kind of thing. So some of the things we're also looking for, in addition to just surveying this for the first time to see what's living here, is we're curious to know if these features on the seafloor, southwestern side, have some similar characteristics to what we've seen in the foothills on the southeastern side, which is fractures in the rock where warm water is flowing out. And we've seen interesting communities associated with those areas of venting warm water, including brooding female octopus, high densities of predatory whelks, shrimp, tube worms, anemones, all sorts of very interesting things living in those areas. So we're keeping our eyes out for that as well. And that to the right there, as we pass by, looks to be a very large dead sponge that's covered that the Brazingid star was on top of. I think we're panning back to look at it.
Wow, that is a massive xenophyophore. Do you see that?
Wait.
That might be one of the biggest I've ever seen. You see that xenophyophore? It's like the shape of a
wizard hat.
I don't think that's a sponge. I think it's a xenophyophore.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Wow. Okay. I didn't think they could get that big.
It is large.
Or maybe it might be a dead sponge. It just.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe that's a dead sponge.
The coloration to me reminded me of dead sponge.
I can't tell. I think it's a dead sponge, but it had the texture of a xenophyophore that we've been seeing lately.
Yeah. And then we also see some calcified tube worms.
Yeah,
look at its
sponge.
base. Erica suggested we look at its base.
Look at the base.
If we can pan all the way to the right and see the base of it.
Unfortunately, we're going to get all this dirt because it's following us.
All right.
Okay.
Bouncing off the bottom.
This is great.
It looks like
Thank
it's
you.
it's attached, so some kind of sponge.
And that beautiful feather star while we're there.
Xenophyophores get pretty big, maybe softball sized, but I've never seen that one that big, so that would have been a really unusual sighting.
Looks like a dead Faria sponge to me.
Yeah.
This thing is weird down here. Blob of tentacles. I'm just pointing stuff out. We can take off whenever.
Okay. Yeah.
Are we
Are we
still
still waiting for the ship to catch up?
We just completed a ship move and we're starting another one right now.
Okay.
Still at 045?
045. So science, our next move will take us pretty much directly underneath the A5 waypoint. Do we want to head continue heading northeast or start heading down to A6?
So,
What are you thinking?
so how far will the ship move relative to its current position on the map?
We're going 30 meters, so it'll line us up directly underneath A5. I've got it marked right now on HIPAC, my cursor.
Hold on, there's a lag. So where I see your cursor isn't at A5. It's 2 isobaths before A5?
Yep, so directly south of A5.
Okay, so that's where you're moving with this one.
Correct.
Yeah.
Zoom in out.
You know, I think we can start heading more to the east. Oh, octopus. Let's take a quick look at that if we can.
Zoom in.
Yes, yes. Zoom.
I don't think we need to go all the way to A5. We can start to kind of wrap around towards A6.
Okay, sounds good. Do you want to, how far do you want to get us closer towards A5 before we start wrapping around? I just moved the cursor a little bit. Is that a good turn here?
Yeah. So, yeah, and then maybe we follow that isobath a little to the east, and then we
After this, can we pan over to the left?
To A6, so it's more
can't
gently
really get
downhill.
stable here.
That's all right.
I'm balancing on the tail. So.
I'm gonna zoom out for that pan for.
Yeah,
Steve.
I'm curious about this branching coral over to the left-hand side.
Okay, zoom in.
That's good.
Yeah, that white coral.
Steve, would you consider this to be enough of coral diversity or density for that Niskin?
Well, it's probably more than we've seen in the past since we got on watch.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't call it dense, but I would say yeah.
No.
But
how many Niskins do you have left?
We haven't taken
done
Niskin.
any.
I think all of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I got some good captures. I just wanted to take a look and see if this was a primnode or a bamboo, and it's a bamboo with one of the branching bamboos, not like the lepidisis we were seeing earlier.
Okay, Meredith says this is a great spot, so we can fire. Can we fire a Niskin?
Yep. We can fire a Niskin whenever Bob's ready. On the move, it's okay too.
Okay.
It's going to be a dirty Niskin.
Yeah.
And Bob, do we want to stop the ship, or we can take it in the time we have? Perfect.
Is it okay if it's dirty?
This is a nice diversity of inverts
Yeah.
for the eDNA sample.
Yeah, I think that this will be okay.
Jen, do you know, is that a male or female octopus?
I don't think I can see the arm that we want to see to determine that, but maybe while we're Niskin, I'll be able to see it. So we can see I'm counting arms around the right side of the animal from the front. 1, 2, I'm looking for 3, but it seems to be hidden from view.
Okay, well, I got to do the Niskin.
Yeah. Yep, let's do that. Thanks. Steve, this will be our second sample, correct?
That was a bit broken up. Can you repeat?
This will be our second sample.
Yes, this is our second sample, but the sample number is 023.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Okay.
On for number one.
So the one.
Ready?
Okay, watching.
Triggered.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, so the white trumpet sponge we took earlier was NA123-002. Then
022.
and this 022. Okay, got it. Warmer equals shallower. Okay, so we have some more information from Nicole on the map. Sam, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you, and I think I just got the same update for Rennie, from Rennie, that
Okay.
the
Okay.
the bathymetric map is accurate, but the contours are just slightly off. Is that what you're hearing as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the contours are shifted.
Yeah,
About
so there is
100
about
meters
100 meter offset on the contours. And it's most
Okay.
evident in this kind of bright green square that should be in the middle of this square of the contour. Right where
I'm not
my
sure I
cursor is
followed
right
that.
now on HiPAC.
Okay. So that should be deeper.
Yeah, so you can kind of see the bright green square that's above my cursor. That's the bathy map.
Mhm.
And that should be dropped down into this kind of square that's formed by the two contour lines above and below my cursor.
Okay. Okay. But everything on the map shifted, correct?
Yeah,
Relative to each other.
apparently the bathy is correct, but it's just the contours are slightly offset by 100 meters.
Okay.
So Sam, if we went up to A5, that would be going upslope?
Word slate.
Let me zoom out a little bit here. A5 looks like we'd be kind of riding a slope, I think. In this, yeah, it wouldn't be quite as tall as the red slope that we were on earlier, but we would be going up a little slope.
Yeah. Well, if this is what we're seeing right now is any measure of what we're going to see as we go deeper, I'd rather than maybe just start following this color contour around to the east and not go deeper into self-sediment.
Okay, we can do that. Yeah, it looks like we're actually
What do you
kind
think,
of
Dan?
Yeah, I think where Sam's cursor is, going directly to the east and then following that contour over to A6.
And
Or in
avoiding
the vicinity.
the greener.
Yeah, avoiding the greener and then dropping south to A7.
Yeah.
okay, so we'll start heading directly east from where we are currently.
Great. Thank you.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Bridge nav. .30 meters, bearing 090.
Seeing a couple
So
of small
going-
monopsid isopods in the water column as well.
I'm sorry, I missed the isopods. Where are they?
They're the little monopsid
gone?
isopods. They're these midwater isopods. They typically find them around the seafloor, just above the seafloor. They kind of look like small shrimp, but they're isopods. I'll try and point one out if I see any more. We passed it.
Okay. Now, being the marine mammalogist in the group, that sounds like something that a gray whale would want to eat, but this is way too deep for gray whale, so
Just a smidge.
maybe not. Just a smidge.
3,100 meters might be a little deep for a gray whale.
Yeah, this is very, very deep.
Yeah.
Deeper than I've ever seen, than any other ROV dive I've ever been on.
Okay, so definitely
Pretty
lost
cool.
contact
What's
with
down
the
here,
rocky feature, yep. So we're going to try and start turning eastward and hopefully get back to encountering that.
Do we have any substrate modeling or slope or backscatter for this area on HIPAC?
Let me see what we've got.
I just wonder, would that have the same offset?
I am not sure on the offset. If Nicole's still listening, that is a great question for her, or Rennie.
That actually kind of looks more accurate than the bathy.
Yeah.
I'm worrying
So
that
that
if we
slope-
go towards A5, we're just going to get stuck in these flats or minor slopes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
No, we
thinking
don't want
that
to go,
too.
I don't think, to A5 at all. But we're trying to decide what path to take over to the next feature.
I think
Yeah, and I think isn't that A6? We're going to go over to A6 and then try to go upslope to A7.
Yes.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
kinda like, what's
So maybe
the
just following this
pathway
contour.
over
Yeah, so maybe just following this contour over to A6.
I like the idea. I think tracking within the green slope intensity is probably going to be the best for getting the hard substrate. So we can kind of do a little snake through that little green substrate as soon as they bring the slope map back. Yeah, so I was thinking, actually, can we put HIPAC on the telestrator? Is that possible? We can do a little pathfinding here.
Saturday night
I can get on that
quarterbacking.
one. Hold on. I'll see what I can do.
I love this new feature of the Illustrator.
Actually, you know what? I think I might even be able to do it myself.
Do we know what our next ship move is?
We're trying to figure out that path right now.
Okay.
Yeah, that route is probably set up for it.
Yep, I got it here.
All right.
All right, so
I'll put it online. And there you go.
yeah, so here's what I'm thinking. We can do, so we're here, right? We can kind of do one of these things.
Okay, delay.
That's cool.
Oh, wait.
Uh-oh. Delay.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
got a little
Or-
loopy-loop at the beginning.
Or
So
you
I
can
think
take the
that-
northern route and go like that.
Yeah. Trying to hit that orange patch. Isn't the orange
Yeah.
patch a bit higher slope?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a chance, right? Everything could be off, but I think we have to just kind of look at it in fuzzy terms.
I like
like
your
the
other route.
The
Yeah.
southern route.
Like that other
Yeah.
route, and maybe just hitting that orange patch on the way to A6.
So you want to take the northern route or the southern route on the Oregon Trail?
Southern route.
Southern route.
All right.
Southern route.
Go ahead, Jen.
No, I agree. Southern route. Yeah. No, not that.
I agree.
That. Southern route. For us with the delay, it's it's
Yeah.
just all strange. But yes, between those two you drew, I like the southern route.
Okay.
Staying in as warm a colors as we can.
Okay, Nav agrees. Second scientist agrees. I think we're right on.
All right.
Perfect. Bridge nav.
And sorry, we were so busy I didn't mention, but if you're watching along, right now we're looking at channel 4, the quad view, And we can see the view from Herc, and we can see the view from Argus, but then we were looking at channel 3. And that channel can get changed out to different things. Often it's a navigation map, but we were just actually using a new feature in the control van called the telestrator. And Steve, who's sitting
I
in the
think I
data
need the
locker chair,
telestrator up here.
was drawing for us on the map
Steve, draw
so
a
we could all
circle
get
for a
on the same
demonstration.
page.
Yeah, you can bring the nav station to the back row anytime you want.
Might have to. That would be a lot easier than trying to see where my cursor lands with a delay.
Plenty of real estate these days back here.
Yeah.
Everyone's on shore.
That reminds me, though.
So we are.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say we are seeing a few fallen over sea pen corals on this part of the seafloor. You can see white skeletons of what used to be a living coral.
Thanks for pointing that out. There might be one that's still upright, just in the upper right-hand corner of the screen.
Oh, yeah.
So we just conferred, and we've got some issues with the map, the isobaths on the maps we've been looking at. So we're putting our heads together to come up with a plan to help us move between some waypoints that we identified before we started diving, based on those original maps. But we're basically trying to move from the sandier bottom area over to areas that are more rocky with higher relief, looking to identify sponges, corals, habitats, other types of organisms that are filter feeding in the water currents, and also looking within the rocky areas for areas with cracks and fissures where we might see warm water seeping out and the associated fauna there. We saw
Zoom in, Al.
that
Busy over
Is
there.
there a Zoom
in
request?
another portion of the Davidson
affirmative?
Seamount
Yes.
area.
Thank you.
Little tiny sea pen, huh?
I don't know.
Those two laser dots you see on the screen are 10 centimeters apart.
Any more
So
on
you
that
can use that to-
coral?
So the pink upright structure is a coral, and then
Any
in
more?
the upper left,
No, if you want any more, it's going to
you
cost a
see an
lot
acorn
more.
worm.
No lens.
There's some brittle stars on this sea pen.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that's a sea pen. That actually might be a small bamboo coral. I saw a darkened node in there. I think it might just maybe be attached to a small pebble or something under the sediment.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
And
But
I'm
that
going to
brittle
defer
star is really just
Stephen
trying to
Jan.
get up in the water column. Oh, sorry, Jen.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I defer to you and Steve when it comes to corals because you've looked at many more corals than I have. So.
And I defer to Steve.
It's based on what I can see from my point of view here. This year with the new vans, we lost our ultra huge monitors in the back row, and they've kind of been moved to the front row, so it's not as easy.
Sort of like pig pen now.
Yeah, I think it's a bamboo coral. So I'm drawing on the telestrator. I don't know how much time we have, but I'm seeing a dark node-like structure in the bottom centimeter of that colony. That might indicate it's a bamboo.
Oh.
And actually,
You got any
The
more
call-ups
Zoom,
really look like a bamboo coral.
that's great.
I'm going to need a therapist after this. No, there's no more Zoom. So
Okay.
It's not
We
very
always
big.
ask for more Zoom
No,
now. I'm
we're just
sorry.
we're just taking a look while.
You can't see inside of it?
All right. Well, we got some
Which
captures.
channel is the
Okay,
illustrator on?
well,
Oh,
that
it's
was
not
on
up
3.
right now.
I think the lasers
Okay.
were on.
But now it's
Lasers are on.
You want a laser shot of this?
It's
Laser
smaller
zoom?
than 10 centimeters.
I think that's
Yeah.
I'm going to give you laser zoom.
Right.
Okay, got it.
Okay, coming out.
cool.
And Sam, I don't know if you saw the dive plan after Chad had kind of put in our check. So I was just going to convey that as far as we right now had approximately trying to get to A5 by 10:25 local time, so we're not behind by any stretch. But I think it's great to stay ahead of the schedule because we never know what we're going to find.
Hey, Jen, unfortunately you're breaking up again, but I think we heard that we're okay on time because we're skipping A5.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Little junk zoom there, Al?
And I'm going to be right back on my audio. Try and clear it up.
Sounds good.
But she was sounding so good.
I'm kind of optimistic about this direction because now we're skirting the bottom of this slope and we're noticing there's more boulder and cobble coming up.
What are those purplish, fleshy things going by on the right? Could you see those?
Didn't quite catch that. There might be acorn worms. Were they on the rock?
They were on the rock. You may have gone too far. That's okay.
This one over here.
There's some on
Zoom
the,
in. Zoom in.
yeah, there's some more right there.
Oh, okay. Well, there are some stalks here with some, they look anemones, these yellow blobs with tentacles.
Mm-hmm. But I'm looking at the rock below
The
that.
purple patch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably some kind of encrusting sponge, maybe?
Oh. Don't know. Maybe. Just wanted to get a shot of it, whatever it is.
Yep. Got it.
Okay, I gotta
Keep moving.
move ahead.
Yep, keep moving. Yes, sponge.
And I'm sorry,
Got a
my D-Link
confirmation
went
through
out.
the science chat.
What's the yellow organisms?
Yeah, those were, so the stalks were not produced by that organism. Those are most likely anemones.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
They're a little bit too large to be zoanthids, and they're more reminiscent of anemones. Speaking of anemones, there's a large white one in the lower left.
Is it budding or splitting? Looks like it's a twin.
That is
Can you
cool.
zoom in quick, Al?
Actually, might even be. What is that?
What is it?
Yeah, it looks like it's splitting.
Or wait.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
Sorry about the dirt.
Could be an anemone or a corallimorph. I'm not quite sure anymore, but I don't think we'll have time to stick around and look.
No, I gotta
Yeah.
get going.
Yep.
Sorry.
Progress is primary objective here, so no need to apologize.
But that was cool. I don't think I've seen, except for aggregating anemones in the intertidal.
Coming up.
Yeah, it's anytime there's available hard substrate, like even a stalk or a stem, you'll find other organisms like take advantage of that height, get up off the benthic boundary layer and into the flow. And zoanthids are probably more common. Ooh, that's an interesting coil.
Oh, some of those are very interesting. Yeah. Oh, look at that tall one too.
Yeah, there's some more coral diversity here. I think I saw a coiled coral just back there a ways, and at this depth, there's very few coiled species, but it looked very similar to something like radicipes.
I missed that. I didn't see a coiled one. If you see another one, please point it out.
Yeah, I will. It was just in the corner of our frame, so.
So here we've seen a few other areas where these sea stars, these peachy colored sea stars, are in kind of distribution on the seafloor. I believe this was the Zoroasteridae, that